Okay, we're on chapter 6 now, reports. Now, you may have noticed we skipped number 5. For time constraints to get through this entire book for the semester, I had to make some cuts. So I cut module 5, visual media. I hope that you're okay with that. Okay, so reports, formal versus informal reports. Informal reports are shorter. They're generally under 10 pages, and they use specific grouped topics. Formal reports, company policy may determine the base sections, complex topics with background, research, and evidence. So they could be much, much longer. Reports and their purposes. Reports are a key communication tool in business. They effectively share and retain information and decisions. Reports are classified into two main types, informal and formal reports. Both of these classifications are further broken down by the type of information. So consider the following. Which type of report is best to use when do you use it? What sections may be found in each type of report, and how do you format reports? Information versus analytical. Think about information, it's data that's already out there. Like I can pick a book up and that would be informational. Analytical, however, the information is research collected and analyzed. So some type of analysis has to go on to make an analytical report. Okay, our stakeholders, what are the different kinds of stakeholders? There's direct, initially impacted by news of the report. Indirect, not impacted until a later time, but still engaged. Remote, affected in the far future. Okay, so informal reports. What are some kinds of different informal reports? Meeting minutes, they summarize the decision and meeting results. Expense reports, there's little to no free writing. We answer specific questions and that's it. Status updates, informational reports. Trip or conference reports summarize and transmit learning, and proposals may provide analysis. Sharing internal reports, there are different kinds again. Memos are internal communication and letters are external, which we talked about before. Web posting is mostly external communication, and email is internal or external depending on the policy. So how do I organize an informal report? Informational reports typically include 3 sections: an introduction or background, the support or reasons, and finally the summary. Informal analytical reports have a lot more sections, but they usually have the following 4: an introduction or background, support or reasons, recommendations, and conclusion or summary. Okay, we have to look at our audience, neutral or positive audience. We'll put the conclusion and recommendations near the beginning of the report, and then put the facts that led us there after that. Or it could be an introduction, recommendation, facts, and summary. And I think that's more what we're used to. If I have a negative audience, my conclusion and recommendations are near the end of the report because it gives me time to educate you, to try and convince you, to try and sway you before you get to the conclusion itself. Introduction, facts, recommendations, and summary. So how do you write an informal report? Well, planning a report, check for the form or template. Complete data gathering, aim for 20 to 30% reading time of the full report. For the writing the report, we'll use the summary statements. Use outline from your planning. Look at the type of report and section headers from there. It'll be 40 to 50% of the time of the full report. So I need to revise my informal report. Use a word processor. I can't imagine what else we'd use, but remember that. Read the report aloud or have a peer review it. It's very mind-opening to read a report aloud. There are mistakes I would never find by just reading if I wasn't using my ears as well as my eyes to revise the report. Go back to the original report and make sure the changes you made are correct. Provide clear purpose, and 20 to 35% of reading time of the full report is here. So now we're going to talk about formal reports. Types of formal reports are research reports, proposals, feasibility reports, business plans, and other complex recommendations. Sharing formal reports. Think of an audience or stakeholders. Are they internal or external or both? Consider the variety of formats. Memos and letters less likely to be used depending on the company and structure. And delivery methods shouldn't change content or structure. So what are the sections of a formal report? There are various sections. As a writer, you can pick and choose what is appropriate in the situation itself. Broadly speaking, these sections are separated into 3 parts: front, body, back matter. Here's a nice little graphic showing you all the parts. So we can have a copy of an RFP, that's a report for proposal. The letter of transmittal is generally, thank you for allowing me to write this for you. Please read. An abstract or summary, which is just that, a shortened version of the report. Title page, who wrote it, where is it going? Table of contents, list of figures. Sometimes, for a shorter report, they could be on the same page, but contents is generally text, list of figures is generally pictures or graphs. Then starts the main part of the report: the introduction, the background, purpose, and problem. Schedule, how long is it going to take us to do this job? Staffing, how many people are we going to need? Budget, how much money do we need? And then an authorization for someone to sign. And an appendix is back matter. Now, an appendix may be in some reports, but not in all reports. And what makes the difference is, it's sort of like the appendix in your body. Some people need it, some people don't. An example might be the research questions we asked to come to the conclusion that 75% of all men like chicken wings. I would want to see how the questions were asked, and that's something that might be put in the appendix. Okay, so we talked about all these. We'll go over them really quickly here. The transmittal letter describes the need for the report, the date of completion. Thanks to you for giving them the opportunity. A cover letter type of page. I don't think you have to make a theme. I mean, really. More detailed information, and it'll talk about, we have to decide if we're going to use MLA, Modern Language Association, or APA, American Psychological Association, for formatting. Business and English tend to use MLA. Okay, so we've got our table of contents, exhibits and illustrations. The contents are different formats. Last section to be created. Exhibits and illustrations, the figures are referred to repeatedly. An executive summary summarizes all the material in the report, found in longer reports. It's written after the report is completed, and it's distinct in length. So what I tell students is write your entire report and then cut out everything that's not absolutely necessary, and you got yourself a summary. Okay, the body section. Oh, it didn't go. Okay. Introduction, set up the structure, informational or analytical. Background explains the circumstances that led to the report. We had a curiosity about Sunday chicken wing utilization, whatever. Purpose, problem statement, research, establish credibility, provides research background. Recommendation, explain why, prioritize our options. And alternative options, underlie the key features of options. Evaluation is the report, bulk of the report, state and results. Okay. So in the body, we want to show the benefits, if there are any. Show the solution will be substantial. Qualifications, explain your experience of your team management. Implementation, a trial period to see if the solution is feasible. Schedule, give a deadline. If I'm trying to see something that's feasible, might be selling ice cream out of the bookstore, and the deadline is 6 weeks from now. We're going to make a decision whether or not we want to continue doing that. Methods of operation: how solution will fit in day-to-day cost. Conclusion is comprehensive reminder of key components. So the back matter can provide critical ideas not in the body of the report, needs to be informational or analytical, uses less prose to explain or connect different ideas, and it provides location for more detailed items. Scrolling here, sorry. The organization of formal reports: informational follows the same broad structure as an informal report. The introduction contains support, reasons, and summary, while the analytical contains support, reasons, recommendations, and a conclusion. So how to write a formal report: you plan the report, see if there is a prescribed structure, follow steps for an informal report, write data gathering or a proposal. Writing the report: single line spacing, because the real world is single spaced. Section headings and use numbers 1 to 50. Revising the formal report takes time, and you got to make sure you set a time aside for it. Like, you should try and be done with the report a day before it's due so that you can come back to it, walk away from it for 12 hours, then come back to it and do your revisions, or they might end up not, or you might end up missing a lot. So make sure you allow time for that. Needs at least 2 reviewers, preferably, and you need to consider grammar and purpose. And I think that's it for Chapter 6, or Module 6. Go on to your assignment.